This is Writing Weekend. Writing is a practice met daily, either on the page or off. These two exercises will help you find balance in that practice. I'm going to write with you. 2 minutes on the timer. Let's go. Hello, hello. Let's write, folks. So today I want to talk about time. I don't have time. How often do I hear that one? I want to write, but I don't have time. So I decided to do a writing weekend on this because just a few days ago I was having a conversation with a group of friends, and one of them said, my God, if there were 36 hours in the day, that would be really amazing. And I thought about that and I was like, I would hate that, because I know that if there were 36 hours in the day, I would simply spend more time wasting time. That actually knowing there's 24 and getting out of that place where I'm wishing for more time, it makes me really focused to make the most of the time that I've got. So if we stick in that place of wishing for more time, we're essentially sticking in a place where we believe that we don't have enough. And in order to not have enough time, we have to secretly waste it so that time keeps slipping away from us. So I want us to get really focused. I want us to get really disciplined with our time, because when you make the most of it, you find that there is enough. And that is a place that I want you all to experience. So let's write, let's do it, let's stop wasting time. Okay, so the first exercise is looking at the payoff. If we're not making time for our writing, there has to be a reason. Otherwise, why would we do it? There was a reason that habit crept into our lifestyle. So we're going to find out that reason, and it will be a positive reason. Otherwise, we wouldn't have done it. So the first exercise that we're going to spend 2 minutes writing on is, how does it serve you to not make time for your writing? So we're thinking in the positive here. How does it serve you to not make time for your writing? 2 minutes, get to it. Okay. So how was that? Looking at how not making time for your writing is actually serving you. there was a moment when I began the exercise where my brain was like, wait, hang on a second. I can think of all the really crummy reasons, but I can't think of the positive. So it was really interesting to even ask my brain to think about the positive of not making time for my writing. So when I finally got going with it, I put, it means I spend time thinking about how amazing things will be when my book is published. And it really became clear to me that in that place where it feels positive about not making time, so rather than giving myself a hard time for not writing, if it's positive, it's like, I'm going to be an amazing writer, my book's going to get published, everyone's going to love it, I'm going to make so much money. So if I don't make time for my writing, that perfect dream doesn't have a chance of being shattered. It means that I'm always going to be this fabulously successful writer, and I don't ever run the risk of discovering that that dream isn't going to turn out exactly as I imagine it. So a really interesting payoff there. I put, it means that I can remain in a state of dreaming where that dream is completely positive. So what benefit did you find? The benefit of not making time for your writing. This one thing that if you do make time for your writing is going to come under threat, and that feels really challenging. Okay, so that's the first area to look at. If you're not making time for your writing, not focusing on giving yourself a hard time for it, but discovering the payoff, the positive benefit. So, okay, now we know we're not making time for our writing, doesn't feel like there's enough hours in the day, we can't seem to get enough done to then have that quiet time to sit down and get on with our project. So I want you to spend the next 2 minutes writing on what do you want instead. I don't have enough time, yeah, we accept that, but what do you want instead? 2 minutes, off you go. Okay, excuse me. So what did you discover? What do you want instead? I found that really interesting because I discovered that what I wanted was essentially what I was dreaming of. So it serves quite a useful point, that, which is when we find out what not making enough time for our writing is giving us, i.e. the positive payoff, we want to make sure that that payoff is still maintained when we do make time for our writing. So for me, the positive payoff was that I got to have this dream about having my published book and turning up at events and giving readings and it all being very successful. And I realized that what I wanted instead, in terms of if I make time for my writing, that's what I want, but for real. I don't want it as just a dream in my mind. I want to actually be there with my published book, as I will be at the beginning of next year. So I was really able to connect to that moment when I'll have my book next year and I will be reading it to you at my events, but it will be happening for real. And in that moment, I knew that I would be proving that there is enough time, that time can be made, it can be found, there is time to write. And that felt really important to me, not just as a writer and a life coach, but just important to me as something that I can prove to myself. So there we go. We just started to unpick this belief that there isn't enough time, that actually if we had more time, would we make better use of it? So why not just make better use of the time that we currently have? See how it serves us to not make use of that time and to still shift, make use of the time, but keep the positive payoff. So take that into your writing practice. Make use of that time and really honour those projects that you are working on. Lovely to write with you, and I really look forward to seeing you next Saturday. Take care.